My name is Hussam Abdullah. I'm an engineer working for World Free Zone Organization as Chief of Strategy and Business Development. And I am delighted to present to you a new initiative that is called Izdihar. Izdihar is a framework for free zones wishing to be free zones of the future. So Izdihar is a free zone of the future. It's a program for free zones wishing to become free zones of the future. It's a new global standard for business growth and prosperity. Let me introduce the concept to you. Free zones actually should go beyond contribution to the GDP, countries' own GDP and economical growth. So my subject sets the ground for international free zones around the world to demonstrate that they are going beyond contributing to the country's own GDP and economical growth by playing active role in becoming safe, sustainable, innovative, and socially responsible. We have uniquely designed here in World Free Zone Organization, designed a solution to be used as a tool or a framework to enable free zones becoming the free zones of the future, or sometimes named mature free zones. So this solution is named Izdihar. The World Free Zone Organization initially launched the Izdihar framework previously in 2018, and it was like a pilot project and one of its unique value proposition. So now we are relaunching it with modification and feedback that we got from the pilot free zones who have participated in the exercise in this program. The Izdihar framework is aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and also aligned with best practices of top-ranked free zones in the world, according to the FDI Financial Times Group. The framework, Izdihar framework, captured current trends and challenges that are facing global industries and facing free zones internationally. The framework is not meant to ignite competition amongst free zones or to rank them in sequential order, but to encourage them to always continually improve their performance and climb up the maturity curve. And I will be explaining to you the maturity curve. The Izdihar index simply lists only those participating free zones who demonstrated their best achievements in meeting or exceeding the set of requirements and criteria, and ultimately progress towards continual improvement, seek continual improvement, and try to reach and become the free zones of the future. So I come to the definition of Izdihar. Izdihar is an Arabic word that means prosperity. So Izdihar in Arabic means prosperity. And in business context, the word prosperity implies flourishing, advancing, especially in economy and the well-being. So this is the Izdihar framework that is designed by us at World Free Zone Organization. It constitutes three main pillars. I call them best in class, innovation, and sustainability. Under each main pillar comes three main criteria. Like under the pillar of best in class comes the knowledge base, the safe zones, and the tech ready. Under the second pillar, which is the innovation, comes the entrepreneurship, SMEs, development, and creativity and innovation. Under the third pillar, which is sustainability, comes the environmental friendly, good place to work, and socially responsible. So the framework has a foundation. The foundation is built on not only prosperity, but free zones have to do excellence, have to be excellent in doing business and operation, and they have to play a role in contributing to the country's economy. So this is what we call BEEC. So business excellence and economic contribution is the foundation of the Izdihar framework, and free zones, they have to start building their foundation by being excellent in their operation and contributing to the GDP and the economical growth of the country. Okay, the meaning of Izdihar index. The index, what we mean by the index is like a list. It's like a table that shows list of participating free zones and their scores that are achieved and updated regularly. So the scores will range from 1 to 5, where 1 means low, 5 means the top level of the achievement. So you can see, for instance, if we have an ABC free zone, for instance, and that ABC free zone will be having a score across the 3 criteria under the first pillar, the other 3 criteria under the second pillar, and the other 3 criteria under the third pillar, which is sustainability. And the scores will be given, as we said, from 1 to 5, and that is the maturity curve or maturity scale, and I will be explaining it later on further. So the way we designed the Izdihar framework, we looked into what is it in it for free zones and what is it for the free zones stakeholders. So for the inside the free zones, the benefits the advantages that will be generated for the free zones itself, it will be contributing to become environmentally friendly, contributing to become a good place, a great place to work. It will enhance knowledge, and the free zones will become knowledge-based, and it will be contributing to become safe zones. So that all 4 elements will contribute to inside the free zone operation. Okay, for free zones stakeholders, there are some other elements that contribute to their well-being, like it addresses entrepreneurs, it addresses how SMEs are developed and taken care of, and it addresses the innovation and creativity extended and shared with participating stakeholders, and it addresses the role of the free zone in playing a role in social responsibility. Again, we don't forget that the framework address and insists to address that the free zone to be excellent in operation and economically contributing to FDI, attracting foreign direct investors, and contributing to the gross domestic product, GDP. Okay, so now these are like the main or the key processes that constitute the process of or the mechanism of how to go about it, how to implement and how to proceed with deploying Izdihar framework. First of all, you need to understand what we are talking about, understand the entire concept behind Izdihar and what is it all about. And you start by communicating with the World Free Zone Organization. Okay, and I will tell you how to communicate and what sort of communication to be done with the World Free Zone Organization. Then you need to register online by creating your own username and password. So each time you need to submit or to enter data into the framework, then you have to use your own created username and password. You have to complete the BEEC Business Excellence and Economic Contribution Survey and pay simple registration fees. Then you need to review definitely the Izdihar framework and guidance manual. The framework, the one that we spoke about, that has 3 main pillars. Under each main pillar, there are 3 main criteria. And for the criteria, there will be sub-criteria and some guidance points. We are attaching to you, we will be attaching to you guidance manual. Once you understood the Izdihar framework and the criteria and the sub-criteria, you need to do a submission, very simple, basic submission, not exceeding 18 pages, because there will be 9 criteria so for each criteria you will be writing 2 bullet points pages, and that will constitute 18 pages. You need to send it across, and at later stage we will be doing it online. We will be enabling free zones to submit online. Okay, once we receive your submission, there will be a desktop review of your submission by independent assessors, and they will generate a feedback report with tentative score and will be sent to you. So at that stage, you will be requested to implement corrective action if you are scoring below 5, which is the top of the scale. Or in case you are scoring 5, then you have to prepare for a validator to come to your site and do a validation, look at objective evidence that you really deserve to be scored 5. Okay, and this is not the end of the journey. In case you don't score 5s in all criteria, then we recommend that you start improving, taking corrective action and improving and applying and reapplying until you achieve all 5 scores under the 9 criteria. By then you will be titled as a free zone of the future. So now I will tell you once you communicate with the award free zone and how you will register and how you will create username. So to start, you need to click on the link. After you communicate, you send an email to the award free zone organization. They will send you a letter or an email saying, please click on izdiharworldfreezone.org, and that will enable you to access a platform. Okay, so once you access the platform, you need to fill out the registration form, a very simple registration form, and you need to create your username and password. Then you pay simple registration fee. Then after that, start completing the online BEEC survey, Business Excellence and Economic Contribution survey. This is meant to be and designed to be online because we will gather your data and we will be doing analysis, overall analysis and business intelligence by interpreting these data on how these free zones contribute really to the economy and to the globe as well. Once you do the BEEC, it's a preliminary requisite. You then you will be receiving a notification to start addressing the Izdihar framework criteria, and to address it properly and to get the ultimate score, you need to utilize the guidance manual. Because there are more explanation on how to address the elements, the criteria, by referring to the guidance manual. Then you submit your application. Currently, you submit it as a PDF. Later on, it will be submitted online, and you will send it to service@worldfreezone@worldfzo.org. That's the email address. We will be receiving all the submissions at this email address, and we will be doing desktop review and assessment. Now the BEEC survey, as I mentioned, it's online survey, and it's a prerequisite. You cannot go to Izdihar framework unless you have completed the BEEC survey. The BEEC survey will tell us that you are committed really to continue and proceed and participate in this journey. And also the BEEC's online survey, it will be used for you as a baseline to measure how the business grow in the free zone. And also it will be used as a health pulse or health check to measure improvement before you participate in Izdihar, and after you participate in Izdihar, it will tell you how you have improved, okay, and how your scores are continually improving until you become mature free zone or you become a free zone of the future. And definitely confidentiality is out of question. We assure you that all data and information that we receive from you will be treated confidential. It will not be leaked outside the boundaries, the office boundaries, unless we want to analyze it by special analysis. Then definitely confidentiality, you don't have to worry about it. So in BEEC survey, there are like maybe around 8 to 9 criteria or elements that you need to cover. The first one is free zone characteristics, is for us to know about your free zone. What is your free zone all about? What is the contact details and the size, the name of the CEO, etc., the location, etc. The second one is the business excellence, and this is, you have to answer questions related to customs, sales, and to trades, something related to your operation. Then we have economic contribution. You need to give some data and information related to imports, exports, and multinational companies, number of multinational, increasing of multinational companies and increasing of SMEs, and also something related to your investment. There's one element is the infrastructure and facilities. It simply talks about how is it built, how the free zone is built up, talking about the buildings, the amenities, the telecommunications, the MEP, all the infrastructure needed to have a good free zone. Past performance, we need certain data, historical data, and this data will be monitored to see if you are improving in these data and you are going to be the free zone of the future. There's one element regarding labor empowerment, labor employment, labor welfare. Well, there's one element related to incentives, related to taxes, maybe the services that you are offering, the value propositions, or any other exemption that you are offering. Okay, competitiveness, we need to see and know what is your competitive advantage and competitive edges. And this is like all about the criteria. There is one additional question that is related to United Arab Emirates free zones, and these are related to Emiratization, localization, you can say, and contribution mainly to GDP and FDIs as well. Okay, so once the BEEC is completed, then the next stage is that you need to go and access the Izdihar framework and the guidance manual. And as I mentioned, in the Izdihar framework, there are 3 main pillars: best-in-class, innovation, sustainability. Under each main pillar, there are 3 criteria. So we have a total of 9 main criteria. And the 9 main criteria, these are supported by 45 sub-criteria. Okay. Therefore, you will be like addressing the 45 sub-criteria if you need to be scored, top score 5s in all criteria, and if you need to be titled as a free zone of the future. So the guidance manual will provide interpretation to you that will enable the free zones to reach maturity level, and you need to use it, the guidance manual, to address all sub-criteria elements as particular and obtain as practical and obtain higher score. This is the example of the guidance manual, one element, like if for criteria 1.1, which is knowledge-based, under that criteria, there are 5 sub-criteria, knowledge exploitation. So you need to address and explain how knowledge creates an added value to stakeholders through the value proposition. And you need to describe like big data and the concept, how is it used to analyze and utilized in future planning, expansion, and diversification. So this is like an example of one point about the guidance manual. Then once you understood all the Izdihar framework criteria and sub-criteria, you need to start right up. You need to complete your submission. And as I mentioned, it's about 18 pages. So for each main criteria, you need to specify, for instance, for knowledge-based, you need to specify how knowledge is designed, created, shared, impacted on the free zone. You can use the sub-criteria as addressed in the guidance manual. For safe zone, you need to tell us how does the free zone manage its physical safety and security to facilitate goods movement, imports, export, protect against illicit products and money laundering. Okay, for the third criteria about tech ready, you need to specify how the free zones progress toward transforming its operation digitally and became smart by tailoring the latest technology into its value proposition, infrastructure, and facilities. Again, you can use the guidance manual. The same for the second pillar, the other 3 main criteria, and the third pillar, the sustainability, and under that pillar, there are 3 other main criteria. So for each criteria here, you have to write some bullet points not to exceed 2 pages. So a total of 9 criteria multiplied by 2, it's a total of 18 pages, very simple, basic submission. But make sure, you support all these by evidences. So we recommend for any participating free zone to form a team, and the team could compromise people from strategy, from economy, like economists, strategists, analysts, IT specialists, could have some HR professional, security professional, facility management professional. So it is best to form a team or a committee and to be diversified by having these specialties with them in order to address all the Izdihar framework requirements, criteria, and sub-criteria. Once you do the write-up, you need to submit it. We will receive it here, and we will do like desktop review and assessment, and we will be issuing a feedback report with tentative score. So the feedback report will be prepared by independent assessor based on desktop review of the submission. Compliance will be measured by scoring. So there will be scores given for each criteria. So we have a total of 9 criteria, and we will be using a maturity curve that will be utilized as a measuring tool. So for instance, this is the assessor feedback report. It will have 9 templates or 9 sheets for instance, like criteria 1, knowledge based under best in class pillar. you will be receiving a score from 1 to 5. It could be 2, 3, 4, or 5. Okay, and there will be areas for improvement. It will tell you that you did not address this element, or maybe this element is not clear, or maybe we need to see evidences on this element. So there will be areas for improvements sent to you for each criteria. So you will be receiving a report with 9 pages or 9 sheets that will tell you how to improve under each criteria. So the scores will be given to you according to the maturity curve. Maturity curve has 5 levels. In the first level, maybe the criteria is people in the free zone are aware about the criteria, but no action has been taken. So they will receive 1 point. It means that in this criteria, they are still in level 1. Okay. The second level is that people in the free zone, they are aware with the some actions they are aware with, and some actions taken, some actions implemented. So this is like you will score 2. Again, level 1 and level 2 means you are not scoring well. Okay, so you need to improve. Level 3 means people aware there is a deployment consistently across the free zone. So it means it is implemented and people are aware of, and results are generated. So this is in the middle. This is like you will score 3 out of 5 in that criteria. Okay. Score number 4 will be given if you have assessed and improved the criteria requirement based on measurements and learning. So you are aware, you have deployed the criteria. Then after deployment, you made an assessment. Then based on the assessment, you have improved and you have measured and you learn lessons from the assessment. So that is what is called level 4, which is best practice. Okay. Now, level 5 means the top score. It means that, okay, you did not only assess and improve and learn, okay, but also there's some sort of creativity and innovation and agility applied in that criteria. And this is level number 5. And when you reach level 5 in all criteria, then you will become mature free zone and you will be titled the free zone of the future. It's very interesting, actually. Framework. Okay, so scoring, why we are scoring? The purpose of scoring is to assess your current level of capability, to promote continual improvement of free zone performance. So in case you scored below 5, you need to strive to reach 5 and reach maturity level and become free zone of the future. So the desktop review scoring sheet will be utilized by the assessor, the independent assessor. He will tell you that, under pillar number 1, best in class, there are 3 criteria. In criteria 1.1, you scored level 4. In criteria 1.2, you scored level 1. In criteria 1.3, you scored level 2. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that you need to improve this scoring and trying to reach level 5. Okay, and again for the second pillar with the 3 criteria under the second pillar, he will give you the score. And the third pillar with the 3 criteria under the third pillar, he will give you the score as well. So ultimately, this is the index. Okay, so it will show that, for ABC free zone, for instance, okay, the row goes like that. Okay, in first pillar, best in class, under criteria 1, scored 3, under criteria 2, scored 4, and the criteria 3 scored 2. Okay, for the second pillar, innovation, ABC free zone scored in criteria 1, 4, in criteria 2, 3, in criteria 3, hit 5. Okay. And the third pillar, sustainability, the free zone scored in criteria 1, 2, criteria 2, 4, criteria 3, 4. So the ultimate is that you need to score all fives, all criteria to be fives in order to be titled free zone of the future. So this index will tell you that you need to improve. Okay, so it will encourage you to continual improvement and ride on the continual improvement journey. So what you need, you don't rest. Like if you apply for the first cycle, okay, you get the scores, you get the feedback report, you implement corrective action, you need to apply again, and definitely you will get higher score. Okay, so you need to improve and reapply until you reach maturity. You become the free zone of the future. It means that you scored 5 in all. Okay. Now, sorry. Okay. Now, the free zones, the World Free Zone Organization assessors, they will do desktop review. Okay. They are objective. They look for objective evidence. Okay. They are impartial. They are independent. They don't belong to any free zone, or they do not favor any free zone on other. They are logical. You know, they use logic in, you know, reviewing and analyzing and giving your the feedback, and they are competent. They have experience and knowledge about the assessment techniques. Okay, so now for two options. Once you receive the feedback report, there are two options. If you are not scoring fives, then you have to implement corrective action, okay, and try to improve. If you are scoring fives under any of the pillar, okay, then you have to arrange for validator site visit. So the site visit will be carried out for only free zones who are scoring 5 in order to seek objective evidence and confidence that these free zones really deserve 5, means top of the maturity curves. So the site visit will be performed for those free zones who score 5 in any of the main pillar to validate mainly the submission and look for evidences. The World Free Zone Organization will organize the site validator. Number of validators depend on the size of the participant of the applying free zone. The World Free Zone Organization will charge them for the number of man days as agreed with the applying free zone. Concerned free zone will bear the cost of business class air ticket and hotel accommodation if it is located outside UAE, which is the base home country of World Free Zone Organization. Okay. Now, if you are scoring 5s, okay, it will, and the site validation is done, then the feedback from the validators will go into a judging panel. So there will be judges panel formed by the World Free Zone Organization, who will have the final approval of the assessor or the validator score based on consensus. Okay. So as I explained, because you know the journey to improve and reach the ultimate scores of 5s, it may take longer time. So we are encouraging free zones, like when 3 criteria under 1 pillar score 5s, then the free zone will be certified against that criteria. We will be issuing a certificate that says this free zone is mature in as best in class in pillar number 1, for instance, or this free zone is mature in pillar number 3, sustainability, or this free zone is mature as innovative free zone under the pillar number 2. So there will be a certificate awarded to free zones who hit 5s for any of the three pillars. Definitely when the three pillars are hitting fives, then the free zone will be titled and will be given a title of free zone of the future. Like here you see CPR free zone. They are scoring fives under the first pillar and scoring fives under the second pillar and scoring fives under the third pillar, 3 criteria. So any free zone that receives 3 certificates or achieves 3 certifications for the 3 pillars, then automatically will be titled a free zone of the future. Now, the free zones of the future maintain performance results that are sustained for at least 5 years. So you need to show results of at least 5 years. Once reached the free zone of the future, they become mature free zone and will be awarded to the title and logo that is valid for 3 years. So once you are given the title that you have become a free zone of the future, that title will be valid for 3 years from the date of announcement. Then it's optional if you want to continue and reapply after 3 years, it's up to you. Then you will be giving a logo, and the logo can be used for 3 years as well. If you don't want to continue and reapply again after 3 years, then you should not be using the title because maybe the conditions and situation at the free zone change. So you will not be using the logo and the title unless you reapply again after 3 years. And according to the terms and conditions, it will be the free zones situation will be studied and looked at by the World Free Zone Organization to make a decision. Okay. So rewarding will be carried out during the annual conference of the World Free Zone Organization. Chairman or his deputy will hand over the award to the achievers. And you don't have to be waiting to reach fives, but if you are receiving certificates under one pillar, under any of the pillar, then you will be receiving certificates. Then you will be handed over the certificate by the chairman or his deputy during the annual conference of the free zones. The winner of the free zones of the future will receive a trophy. And as I mentioned, they will be receiving a logo. Logo will be used on letterheads, on business cards, on publicity materials. The logo shall not be used for more than 3 years. The logo shall not be altered or redesigned or manipulated by the winning free zone. Okay. So depending on the maturity level that you have achieved from 1 to 5, okay, you are required to continually improve and reapply year on year until you reach the level 5 and you become the free zone of the future. The fees, there will be very basic fees. When you start filling out the registration form, you will need to pay online $300 as a participation fee. The rest of the exercise will be free unless you are outside UAE. Then in case we need to send validator to do site validation, then the participating free zone will have to bear the cost of the air tickets and accommodation. So the Izdihar Index, we are planning to have it published on the website of the World Free Zone Organization. It's mainly to see how other free zones participating in this exercise are doing, how they are doing, and when you come to know that certain free zone has achieved 5 under one of the pillars, then you might need to share and come and go and try to benchmark practices and try to learn from mature free zone, etc. So the Izdihar Index layout will appear on the World Free Zone Organization website in order to know who has participated, what scores they have achieved, who is scoring well under innovation, who is scoring well in best in class or in sustainability, and how can we learn from them. So in conclusion, regardless of the type, size, scope, or mission of the free zones, the index provides holistic view of how free zones will become free zones of the future and reach maturity level. The free zones of the future, or they are mature free zones, are encouraged to share their best practices with the wider free zone community or stakeholders and other onshore interested organizations could be. So it's not only free zones, but also they can share their best practices with other organizations, other companies. Izdihar is not a competition for rewarding winners or losers, but a framework that provides free zones with a roadmap on their journey toward the future throughout the implementation of measurable good practices with focus on creativity, innovation, learning, and improvement. Izdihar Index enables participating free zones to monitor their performance and seek continual improvement by adopting the latest trends related to sustainability, innovation, and best in class. The index emphasized the fact that prior to prosperity, there shall be solid core and baseline to build upon, such as the BEEC, business excellence and economic contribution. The Izdihar index will appear for all free zones members and participants through the www.worldfreezone.org. This is all about. If you have any query or question, I'll be glad to answer you may contact us at World Free Zone Organization. My name again is Hussam Abdullah, and I have honored to work with the people on the World Free Zone Organization to design and come up with the final outlook of this framework. And this framework has been circulated to all specialists across the world, and we have received many feedback, and we have incorporated most of the feedback to come up with the final frame. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.